So we recently had an Anagarika ordination for Anagarika art, and every time we have an ordination here, I always think of this very beautiful teaching of the Buddha, where he says that there's these three occasions when the devas, or heavenly beings, let out a cheer, let out a cry. And the first occasion is when a person decides to go forth from the household life and become a monastic, leave the worldly life behind and ordain in order to overcome their suffering and to find real internal happiness. And on this occasion, when somebody makes that decision and decides to ordain, then the devas let out a cheer and saying, this noble being intends to do battle with Mara. This noble being intends to do battle with his defilements. And then the second occasion is during the course of that person's practice, as they come up against challenges and difficulties and struggles with their own defilements. On those occasions, the devas let out a cheer that this noble being is doing battle with Mara. This noble being is doing battle with his defilements. And then the third occasion is when that person has overcome their defilements and realized enlightenment, then the devas let out a cheer that this noble person has won victory over their defilements. This noble person has been victorious against Mara. And I've always found this teaching to be very beautiful and very inspiring, particularly this, the second occasion, because I think the first and the third, it's easy to see that, even humans, and as well as, devas would be inspired by people who ordain and also, people who realize enlightenment. These are very inspiring things, but, we spend so much of our practice, so much of our time in that second stage of struggling with our defilements, and, it's easy to be very inspired when we ordain as an Anagarika or we ordain as a monk. Very easy to be very uplifted by that, but then we tend to run into a lot of great difficulties in practice, running up against all of our old defilements, old habits, and it's very easy to feel like we're just kind of all alone in the practice and become a bit frustrated and feel a bit hopeless about ourselves. And if we do kind of reflect on, devas or, other human beings who are around us, we might have the feeling like they wouldn't really be very inspired by us, because we haven't really had much success in the practice. So I've always found this teaching very, very inspiring, very uplifting to bring this to mind when we do run into the really difficult points in practice. We're really struggling, sometimes feeling overwhelmed, that the forces of goodness, they're not only inspired when we succeed, they're inspired just when we put forth the effort, to go against our defilements. That is not something which is easy to do. There's something which is incredibly noble in trying to go against the habits of the mind and trying to find real happiness within ourselves. There's something that's incredibly noble in that, and certainly good people and also the forces of goodness in terms of heavenly realms. The Buddha is telling us that they do notice that, and they are definitely cheering us on. So this is something that we can continue to reflect on when we run into challenges, and very much hope that all of us will give the the forces of goodness in the world, many occasions in which they can rejoice in our practice. So offer that for reflection this morning.